Hope that this didn't scare you guys, but today we are diving into some true crime.
Oh, yeah.
You ready to explore
Yeah.
the mystery of the Axeman of New Orleans?
Absolutely. This case is so intriguing. It's
Yeah.
a blend of unsolved murders,
Right.
early 20th century New Orleans,
Huh.
and then there's that jazz music element.
Okay, let's set the scene. It's the early 1900s in New Orleans,
Right.
a city known for vibrant music, diverse culture,
Right.
lively nightlife, but lurking in the shadows
Yeah.
is a sinister figure, the Axeman.
And he makes himself known in a terrifying way.
Oh, yeah?
In May 1918,
Okay.
Joseph and Catherine Maggio are found brutally murdered in their home.
Oh, no.
Their throats were slit, their heads bludgeoned,
Yeah.
and the killer used an axe found at the scene.
An axe from their own home. That's scary. Was this just a random act of violence, or was there more to it?
That's where it gets interesting. This wasn't an isolated incident.
Okay.
Over the next several months, a pattern emerged. The Axeman mainly targeted Italian-American grocers and their families, always striking late at night.
And was it just the grocers themselves, or was it their families, too?
Their families as well.
Oh, wow.
And get this, the attacks were violent, but robbery never seemed to be the motive.
Really?
Valuables were often left untouched.
So if it wasn't about money, what was driving this killer?
That is one of the biggest mysteries of the case.
Yeah.
The lack of a clear motive like robbery just amplified the fear gripping the city.
Right.
The attacks seemed random and unpredictable,
Uh-huh.
making the Axeman all the more terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
It suggested something deeper, something
Yeah.
more sinister was at play.
And to make matters worse, the Axeman had a signature move.
He did!
He chiseled panels out of back doors to enter homes.
Mhm.
Why this specific method?
This detail suggests a methodical killer, someone who planned his attacks carefully and perhaps even took a certain pleasure in the process of breaking in.
Wow.
The chiseling wasn't just about gaining entry.
Right.
It was about creating a sense of dread, a terrifying calling card.
Imagine the fear that must have gripped New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Families barricading themselves inside their homes,
Yeah.
sleeping with weapons constantly looking over their shoulders.
You can almost feel the tension, the paranoia
Yeah.
permeating everyday life.
Yeah.
People were afraid to go out at night to even answer their doors.
Wow.
The Axeman's presence cast a dark shadow over the entire city.
And then things take a truly bizarre turn. In March of 1919, a local newspaper receives a letter, supposedly, from the Axeman himself.
Yeah.
It was chilling strange.
Yeah.
And signed Hell, March 13, 1919.
This letter, often called a letter from hell, may offer a glimpse into the mind of the killer,
Oh, wow.
but we still don't know for sure if it was really written by the Axeman.
Right.
However, its impact was undeniable.
The letter contained a chilling promise. The Axeman claimed to be a demon with a love for jazz music
Yeah.
and said he would spare anyone who played jazz in their home on March 19th.
This demand, whether genuine or not, forced the city to take the Axeman's threat seriously.
Wow.
It created a situation where the city's love for music became intertwined with its fear.
And New Orleans responded in a way only it could. On March 19th, the entire city was filled with the sounds of jazz homes, clubs, streets.
Yeah.
Everywhere you went, you could hear music.
Yeah.
It was a defiant act of unity in the face of terror.
And remarkably, there were no murders that night.
Really?
The city held its breath, united by jazz and the fear of the Axeman,
Wow.
and seemingly their gamble paid off.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So they actually took the Axeman at his word and played jazz everywhere.
They did. It's a powerful image, isn't it? A city choosing to fight back against fear with music.
Yeah, it really is. But even after that night of jazz, the mystery of the Axeman remained.
Right.
He went quiet for a while, leaving everyone to wonder if he was truly gone.
Yeah.
Then in October of 1919, there's one final brutal attack.
Right.
Mike Pepitone is murdered.
Right.
And this time there are witnesses. His family reported seeing a figure fleeing the scene.
And then nothing.
Really?
The Axeman vanished. The murders stopped. The
Uh-huh.
letters stopped. And the city was left with a chilling question.
Yeah. What happened?
Who is the shadowy figure who terrorized them for over a year?
It's as if he just disappeared into thin air.
It is.
Did he move on? Did he die? Was he caught for some other crime and his true identity remained hidden? It's baffling.
Right. The lack of answers is one of the things that keeps this case alive,
Yeah.
even after all these years.
Right.
There are so many theories, but no definitive answers.
Like what?
Well, was he a disgruntled laborer familiar with axes,
Yeah.
perhaps driven by a personal vendetta?
You mentioned earlier that many of his victims were Italian-American grocers.
I did.
Could there be a connection to organized crime? Was the Axeman a mob enforcer targeting businesses that refused to pay protection money?
It's a possibility, especially considering the influence of the mafia in New Orleans at the time.
Right.
However, there's no direct evidence linking the Axeman's crimes to any specific mafia activity. It's a theory that has persisted, but without concrete proof, it remains just that.
A theory.
A theory.
So we have theories about disgruntled laborers, organized crime. What about the letter? You said earlier that we can't be certain if it was actually written by the Axeman.
Right.
What makes you think that?
Well, the letter itself is quite strange. It's almost theatrical in its language and tone.
Okay.
Like something a villain would declare in a melodrama.
Right.
And remember, we only have the newspaper's word that they received it. There's no independent verification.
You're right. It does read a bit like a stage play, with the Axeman casting himself as this demonic figure who loves jazz.
Right.
Could it have been a hoax? A prank designed to capitalize on the fear surrounding the Axeman?
It's entirely possible. Imagine the chaos someone could create by forging a letter like that.
Yeah.
They could divert attention, create a distraction, or simply revel in the city's panic.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
But let's say, for argument's sake, that the letter IS real. What does it tell us about the Axeman?
If we assume it's genuine, the letter reveals someone deeply disturbed, someone reveling in the power and fear they generate. The claim of being a demon, coupled with a strange love for jazz, paints a picture of someone seeking to elevate themselves beyond human to become something truly terrifying and inexplicable.
It's almost like he was creating a brand for himself.
Right.
A dark persona designed to instill fear and awe.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, why vanish? Why leave the stage just as the story was getting interesting?
That's the ultimate mystery, isn't it? The Axeman's sudden disappearance only deepens the intrigue.
Right.
It leaves us with endless questions and no satisfying answers.
It's almost as if he wanted to remain an enigma, a boogeyman, whose story would be told and retold, inspiring fear and fascination for generations to come.
Maybe he did.
It's a story that continues to captivate people's imaginations even over a century later.
It really does.
But beyond the mystery and the fear, I'm curious about the impact the Axeman had on New Orleans itself. How did these events shape the city?
The Axeman's reign of terror had a profound impact on New Orleans, both in the short and long term. Immediately following the attacks, the city was gripped by fear. People were hesitant to leave their homes, especially at night, and the city's once vibrant nightlife was significantly subdued.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
The Axeman shattered any sense of security people had.
Yeah.
He fundamentally changed the way people live their lives.
Exactly. People were constantly looking over their shoulders, wondering if they would be the next victim. They were sleeping with weapons near their beds, reinforcing their homes and avoiding going out after dark. Imagine the toll that takes on a community.
It must have been incredibly difficult.
It was.
Living with that level of constant anxiety. Did this fear ever subside?
Over time, as the attacks stopped and the leads went cold, the immediate fear gradually lessened. But the Axeman's story became ingrained in the city's collective memory. It's a tale that has been passed down through generations, shared in hushed tones, and woven into the very fabric of New Orleans folklore.
So in a way, the Axeman became a part of New Orleans' identity.
You could say that he represents a dark chapter in the city's history, a reminder that even in a place known for its joy music and celebration, darkness can lurk beneath the surface.
It's fascinating how a real-life figure can transform into something almost mythical over time.
Isn't it?
The Axeman has become a subject for ghost tours, true crime documentaries, and even inspired works of fiction.
His story taps into our primal fear of the unknown, the unsettling possibility that evil can strike at random without reason or warning, and the fact that he was never caught, that his identity and motives remain a mystery, only adds to his enduring power.
It's a story that stays with you.
It really is.
It makes you think twice about locking your doors at night, and maybe even appreciate the power of music to bring people together in the face of fear.
Indeed, the Axeman of New Orleans is a stark reminder that some mysteries may never be solved, that some shadows linger even after the lights come back on. It's a story that continues to fascinate and frighten, urging us to remember that the world can be a very strange and unpredictable place.
Well, that's certainly a chilling thought to leave our listeners with.
It is.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the unsettling world of the Axeman of New Orleans. And remember, stay safe.